Why Hindus worship so many gods and goddesses is quite a baffling mystery to most. In the West, where the mass majority practice an Abrahamic tradition with one god, the concept of polytheism is quite an intriguing yet mythological and comic book material for some. However, the Bhakti tradition explains that there are not millions of gods, rather, there is one God, and the rest are his servants. In Vedic tradition, it is explained that just like there's departments and various organizations within a country, state, city to run, there's also a spiritual or universal department, ultimately the head being God, and the rest his servants who are maintaining it. For example, in society, we would have, for example, presidents, vice presidents, the mayor, then coming down to postal workers, other government workers, police officers, teachers, and so on and so on. They each have a fundamental role to play in protecting, governing, maintaining, and creating various aspects of society. So in that way, Krishna, who is God himself in Vedic culture, maintains the universe through the aspects of the various gods. Now, in Vedic tradition or Bhakti tradition, it is maintained that there are 33 million gods, each with an interesting aspect or post in Vedic culture. They're often referred to as demigods. It is quite a misunderstanding, even though by those even practicing Vedic culture, that there are millions of gods and they're ultimately all supreme, and worshipping either one will give one the same destination. However, the Bhakti tradition explains that Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is the source of all the other gods and demigods, is the original and supreme being. Thus, although Vedic culture or Hinduism is often mistaken with polytheism, it is actually in fact monotheism, because it is upheld by one supreme God, Krishna. Now, in Vedic culture, there are various aspects. There is controllers of the sea, controllers of the air, controllers of fire, controller of learning, controller of maintaining the universes, controller of destroying, and controller of creating the universes. Each one has a specific role to play, and they are a vast majority, as I mentioned, 33 million or 33 crore. Now, for example, Surya is considered to be in charge of the sun. Indra is considered to be in charge of the seasons or nature or the weather. And Saraswati is considered to be in charge of learning. Lord Shiva is considered to be in charge of destroying. Lord Brahma is for creating, and Lord Vishnu for maintenance. However, these are all under the control of Lord Krishna. When you worship any other gods or goddesses, you're ultimately giving them the authority to control you, but in a minute degree, because ultimately whatever they do has to be approved in one sense by Lord Krishna. So ultimately, it is better to worship that simple one God. In Vedic tradition, there are posts or which maintain and explain each god's positions. For example, as I mentioned, Lord Shiva destroys, but he destroys under the supervision of Lord Krishna. So just as society has various posts and designations created to maintain and create peace in society, the various gods and goddesses who are not supreme do the same thing. They help Lord Krishna maintain the universe. Now, one may ask, if God is supreme, why does he need help? If we look at this carefully, they don't help because he needs help, they help as a service attitude. When a government official serves, he is not doing it on his behalf, but he is doing it on behalf of a higher official. He ultimately has to answer to a higher being. All these living entities or gods and goddesses ultimately have to answer to Krishna, because they have been given this position because they being qualified based on their devotional merit. So it is not that all gods are one, or there are millions of gods and goddesses, but rather there is only one God, and He is the source of them all, and that is Lord Krishna. If you want further explanations will be given in my other videos. Please also watch God, Demigods, and Incarnations to see how Krishna is the supreme. So again, remember, each god or goddess is there to maintain and facilitate the worshipper, ultimately to gain a particular desire. But that reward ultimately comes from Krishna as well. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So as we look beyond our misunderstandings of Vedic culture, please expand and transcend your knowledge by reading the holiest of the holy books, the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. For these will give you actual and factual knowledge about who God is in Vedic culture. So please comment, rate, and share, subscribe, and remember, just transcend. Hare Krishna.